Please can you remind me, if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? With purple angel, purple angel.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and founder of Alzheimer's Speaks. For those of you that are new to our program, Alzheimer's Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care culture from crisis to comfort around the world. And we welcome you by joining us today. You see, we believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, that we're going to be able to remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those diagnosed as well as those who care live with purpose and continue to enjoy their life. Together, we can understand the true needs by just having simple conversations that we have with all of our friends. And we just like to share those with you around the world. At our core, we believe collaboratively is the only way we're going to win the battle against dementia. And I know that's working because of all of your likes and clicks and shares. You see, you got us named the #1 influencer online, according to ShareCare and Dr. Oz. We sure as heck didn't do it alone. So I again want to thank you, and I hope you continue to have your support. And while you're listening today, just click on, that Facebook page. Click on that Twitter tribe and spread that information. You see, each time you share that information, you're making a huge impact, and it takes you just a second. But there are so many people dealing with this disease that we don't even know, who are in our own circles of influences, that need this information. And like anything else in life, none of us want this information forced down our throat. People have to be ready to receive it. But the more they see it, the more comfortable they will be with it. So help give them hope and support by just sharing knowledge and being part of our tribe here. You, as a listener, might have a story to share. We talk to people who have dementia. We talk to people who are caring for loved ones, professionals. We've had authors, musicians, directors, researchers, advocates on. We believe everybody's voice needs to be heard, and we would love to hear yours. So reach out to me at alzheimersspeaks.com. There's a big gold button at the top right-hand corner. Just click on that. You can call me. You can send me an email. You can tweet me. Let's have a conversation, and let's get you on the show to share what you've learned through this disease and how you can help others. Today's show is going to be a fun show. I've got some personal friends in the studio with me today. And but before I introduce them, I always like to do a shout-out to a few different organizations that I don't think everybody knows about. The first is the Alzheimer's Disease International Organization, and they are the association of all associations all around the world. And the cool thing about them is you can go to their site, you can find who's closest to you, but you're also going to find fantastic global knowledge. They do huge research papers a couple times a year that just have great statistics and really valuable stuff. So check out Alzheimer's Disease International. You'll also hear them referred to as ADI. The other organization is the Purple Angel Project, which started over in the UK. I am lucky enough to be the head of operations here in the U.S., so you can find out about that project on our About page on www.alzheimersspeaks.com. Go to About and Purple Angel Project. But it's a new global symbol for dementia. It costs no time or no money and very little time. And you, too, can help spread the word and utilize a symbol that we want as well known as the pink ribbon is for breast cancer. And there's absolutely no reason that we can't do that together. HealthStar Home Health is a company here in Minnesota that's near and dear to my heart. They just do fabulous work and really some cutting-edge things, especially when it comes to dementia and how they care for their clients and how they help families deal with that as well. And then the last one I want to mention is just the Alzheimer's team. You can find out information about them on Facebook, but they're all about clinical trials and reshaping Alzheimer's treatments and there's no cost for participation in that program at all. So let me go ahead and get started with our show today. Again, in the studio today we have with us Beth Patterson and Cricket Bungie. And I'm first going to introduce Beth. Beth has been a senior industry leader since 1997. And she's a certified reverse mortgage professional specializing in reverse mortgages since 1999. She's written an incredible book about it. She's nationally known. She also, in 2005, started her own company called Savvy Senior Sources. And Savvy Senior Sources guides you the way through the resources, through an actual guidebook, through a website, through a TV show called Savvy Senior Sources, Talking with the Experts. And then she also has the Savor Your Life educational and resource fairs. And, you know, we're going to be talking quite a bit about that today because there's one coming up here on November 5th. And she's worked really hard over the years. I've seen her just work like a dog, putting these things together. And they're really coming to light now. People are really grasping this concept because they're not your typical educational fairs. So welcome, Beth.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Cricket has a passion for solving problems, for helping others. And after 25 years of successful corporate career, she purchased a company called Senior Care Authority, or a franchise of that company, to provide seniors and their families with personalized assistance in locating the best senior housing and care for the various options for them. So welcome, Cricket. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Laurie.
Well, good. By phone, we also have a couple other ladies with us. I guess this is the girls' room. Sorry, Wyatt. Wyatt's our board operator here. We got him outnumbered today. We have Deb Bland with us, and she has worked in senior housing for 43 years. You'd never know it by looking at her at all that she's been in the industry that long. And she started as a CNA and then was promoted into admissions for long-term care in TCU. And currently, she's working at Polar Ridge Senior Communities and in a position of the Director of Marketing. And she says she's loving every minute of it. And every time I meet with her, this woman's eyes beam just as brightly as her smile. I mean, she really does enjoy her work. So welcome, Deb. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous, and thanks for having me back on.
Well, good. Glad to have you with us. And our fourth person that's going to join us here today is Allison Bakke, and she's an occupational therapist and the founder and president of Above and Beyond Senior Services, which is a company providing direct pay maintenance, physical and occupational therapy for seniors. And Allison has spent her career specializing in cognition and dementia while serving seniors and their families as they work through the challenges related to memory loss. And I've had the honor of sharing a platform with Allison at, I can't even remember which conference, but she's just so filled with great knowledge. It's just really a privilege to have you on the show. How are you doing today, Allison?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, good. We're excited that you're here. Now, Beth, there's a couple of people that weren't able to join us that are kind of on your team for the Savvy Senior Educational Fair. Do you want to just give them each a little plug?
Sure. One is Tim Van Roy, who is with Thrivent Financial, and he is one of the planners for helping us put the November 5th educational fair together.
Okay. And then there's Lori with the City of North St. Paul, too.
Right. And Lori is, as this Lori just said, Lori, spelled differently, two Loris, is with the City of St. Paul, and she is hosting the movie His Neighbor Phil as a pre-event to the November 5th Savor Life Educational Fair.
Yep, and then Lori is with North St. Paul. And, just what a gangbuster team you've pulled together. Really a lot of fun. I've done these fairs before with Beth, and they're always just really a powerful platform But again, like I said in the beginning, they just really seem to be gaining momentum, and more people are wanting these in their community. So this is a great service. So Beth, why don't you share the details of the Savor Your Life Educational Fair and how it's different from other kind of senior fairs that everybody is doing?
Okay, I did some a few years ago, and as Lori said, they're gaining momentum and more people are interested. They're put together by Savvy Senior Sources, titled Savor Life Educational and Resource Fairs. The one coming up on November 5th is at Transfiguration Catholic Church in Oakdale. And what's different about these educational fairs is we are really trying to help the seniors, the boomers, the caregivers receive information through a platform of speakers. I'm doing the talk on Own Your Future, Minnesota Planning for Long-Term Care, which is based off of the initiative from the state of Minnesota on the importance of planning. And then Lori LeBay is going to be our keynote speaker, talking about shifting caregiving from crisis to comfort. And then we have a panel of people put together, as well as exhibitors providing resource tables to be able to answer questions. And we focus not on how many people we can get at the event. We're not looking just to have the numbers. We're looking to really have the people who need and want the information. And from past events that we've done, the comments afterwards just bring me to tears on the difference that we've made in their lives, of helping them find the resources, knowing that they're not alone, and being able to make an impact and help them along their journey of caregiving.
Well, that is wonderful. What I'd like to do next is to ask each of your panelists here who are going to be part of this, why they chose to get into hosting, this event with you. So, Cricket, why don't you go first?
Sure. Well, so for me, being part of the fair means that I get to help seniors and their families and others who are just trying to find out what resources are out there. That was a pretty big draw for me. Again, I love to solve problems. That's what I do, and I do very well. I have a personal interest in this particular fair because it's being hosted at my parish. And so when I was at the Fall Festival just a few weeks ago here in September, and I was able to talk to some people about the fair and what was coming, there was so much excitement about having this level of resources available for the parish and anybody else in the surrounding neighborhoods. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I will say, yes, Cricket was instrumental in getting the church, Transfiguration Church in Oakdale, to host the event. They evidently had expressed interest in doing something, but didn't know how to go about, didn't know who the resources should be, and that's where Savvy Senior Sources comes into play. We become the event planner.
Yeah, very, very cool. How about you, Deb? Why did Polar Ridge decide to jump in the loop here?
There's a multiple things, but basically it was a conversation that Beth and I were having and talking about how can we help community, and she shared about her educational events, and I said, we need to get this rolling. And so it just kind of went from there, and with doing marketing at Polar Ridge, I just felt this was an automatic. We need to get involved. North St. Paul was instrumental in getting Polar Ridge there with Tealwood. So to me, it's about giving back to the community. How can we educate? How can we help? How can we be better servants to our community? And just the whole platform. And then on top of it, dealing with Alzheimer's with my mother. So I'm very passionate about that piece as well. And just I really feel honored to be in this group and working together and helping, because there is a ton of excitement about this event coming up. So I'm truly blessed in being a part of it too.
Oh, cool. Well, great. How about you, Allison? Why did you feel it was important for your company to join forces with this event?
I think because of the quality of the event, that's an important factor. We get a lot of events that come across our plate on a regular basis, and I think just the time and the thought process that's put into putting on high-quality speakers, great education was very important. And then the second component for me was really looking at my day-to-day work life. I get to touch one or two families a day and make an impact for them, and that feels great. But the common thing that I hear over and over and over again is, boy, I wish I'd known about this a long time ago. And sometimes you just don't know what you don't know when you're thrown in the chaos of caregiving. And so to be able to get out in front of people before they're in a crisis and before major problems hit, if I can impact people's lives there and have a whole group of them, now they've got another tool in their back pocket when something does happen.
Yep, agree. We've done these in the past and, done the talkbacks and stuff afterwards, and it's just been fascinating, the conversations that people have had. And like Beth said, it brings tears to her eyes because people are just so thankful for the resources, and it just is such a must. Deb, I'm going to pose this one to you because Lori with North St. Paul isn't able to be with us. But, she's hosting an event for his neighbor Phil, which is kind of a pre-event to help market the educational fair. Why did the city decide to jump in? Is it because of your tight relationship with them and just kind of taking your lead?
That's part of it, yeah. Lori is an amazing woman and wonderful to work and gets what we're going at after to promote and to help the community. And again, she was one of the people that in North St. Paul that was instrumental with Polar Ridge. And when we met, it was just this instant, and how can we help and how can we grow? And so it was just that combination of things. So when Beth and I were talking, I said, we had an event over at City Hall, and I'm betting that they would be welcome as far as hosting the movie. And literally, when Beth sent me the information, I got it to Lori. She talked to her people at City Hall, and within 10 minutes, she was back to me saying, yes, they would do it.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't waste any time. So, but we see the importance and the value of all of this coming together. So, yeah, they're on board. Oh. They're just amazing people.
Very cool. Now, Tim is with Thrivent, and he's not able to be with us either today. Beth, did he tell you why he thought it was important to be involved with this educational fair?
Deb might be able to jump in also because she was one who initially talked to him, but he has been involved with various churches also and interested in trying to provide the information on the value of planning ahead, the importance how people can retire wisely, and just, again, sharing the word with people on the various options that are out there. Anything you want to add, Deb?
Tim and I have done a similar type of events, not to this degree, but, we've targeted churches, and I know Tim on a personal level, a whole bit where I used to work, an amazing man, wonderful to work with, great family, and gets it. And so I thought, here's a great person to bring on board in contacts, and with Beth's information, to me it just was a beautiful fit.
Well, one of the things that I find, with her program is she tends to tap into people with passion, and when you're working with people with passion, it's just fun then. It's not like work. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. I mean, the woman she's up like 24/7, you can email her at 3 o'clock and she'll reply to you half the time. Of course, I know because I'm up then too, so
I sleep in the morning instead.
But it's so fun, and every time we all get together, it's really fun conversations. Everybody's eyes light up, and everyone's just kind of sparking off one another about how we can make a difference together. And to me, that's one of the biggest differentials that I see in these educational fairs versus a lot of other ones. And not that people aren't out there trying to do good, don't get me wrong, but there's a different level of passion and authenticity that I find with these. Let's talk with you guys are doing this panel, and so let's hear what everybody's topic is going to be. And Cricket, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's your topic going to be?
Sure. Well, my topic, I'm going to focus on some of the different options that are out there, the different types of housing that's available. So in my business, I focus on helping to align or to get families to those types of resources. So for my section of the panel, just knowing that when it comes to that time, whether it be that you've planned for a while or that something unexpected happens, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, now what? Mm-hmm. That happened to me personally with my grandmother, and so it's helpful, I think, to be able to educate people on what those options are, whether you want to rent, whether you want to buy, whether you want to bring somebody into the home. Those are all different options. Again, my focus will be on the types of housing more so than the home care, but those are all different, possibilities that are out there.
Okay, great. And Deb, what's your topic going to be?
A day in a life at assisted living, and I'm just going to tap in a little bit, but I have a resident that's going to come and share what is it like to move into an assisted living, and how is she feeling about that, and just kind of a brief scenario on that. I just felt it was important to share that it's not a scary place, that all of us out there have different levels of care, and how can we help? So when I asked her, she was like, on board instantly too.
Oh, how cool is that?
That's fun.
That'll be a great voice to hear. Now Tim isn't here, so Beth, what's Tim going to be talking about?
He's going to be talking about the importance of planning and options how to retire wisely. And we're not going to get into a whole lot of depth, and it's certainly not selling. None of us are up on the panel selling our products. It really, truly is an education so that people can know about different options and then make their own decisions on what's right for them, but at least have knowledge of those options and resources.
Okay, great. And why don't I go ahead and ask Allison, what are you going to be chatting about?
Yeah, I'll be able to talk about, those seniors that for them it is important to stay in their home. What does that look like for them? What are some options available to them? What are some community-based services that can come in and offer them support in their homes? I often, I take an independent look, and sometimes I have to tell my clients, you know what, you really need to move. And other times we can find ways for them to stay. So I'll be able to talk through some of those angles as people are going through that decision-making process, because it really is a hard decision for people.
Okay. And it is. It's when I sold real estate for 25 years, I found people took like 10 to 11 years was kind of their average, that they milled this around. And people were shocked that it took that long, but they didn't tell anybody that they were thinking about it. And it would come out when a friend would move, and they're like, well, how'd they move so fast, so easy, And it's like, because they were sweating in the back room like you are, not talking to anybody about it. And it's just so much easier when you can have a conversation, about this and not be fearful, not be embarrassed, because making any type of move or getting in-home care, whatever it is, it's not about losing independence. It's about gaining independence, and it's about living smart and living well. And we have to get people to look at things in a new light, and really push that other dark crud away, because we all want to live the best we can, and we all have that right, and we shouldn't be embarrassed about it at all.
And a little tip is that once you know the resources and what your options are ahead of time and have those discussions, you're not making a decision in crisis, and you have so many more choices and options available to you. So, and Allison, I think you're going to also give some tips on fall prevention, right?
Yes. Sorry, I get sidetracked sometimes. Yeah,
yes,
I'm going to talk about that too. There's equipment out there that can help prevent that. There's exercises, all of those things, and so we'll talk about those things too, and give people some tricks to take home with them to avoid some of those things.
Great. And then, Beth, you had kind of mentioned you were going to be talking a little bit about the Minnesota project and stuff. For long-term.
Right, yeah. The opening event or opening talk is on Own Your Future Minnesota, planning for long-term care, and we're not referring to long-term care insurance. We are referring to what happens when something to you happens and you do need some long-term care services. And again, comes back to knowing options, the importance of planning. The cost of some of those options we will be hitting on, and how it can make a big difference in your life. So that's the opening talk.
Okay. Will that cover home care and stuff too then in that? Or
the Own Your Future presentation talks about some of the different resources. The panel presentation between Allison and I, we're going to cover some options so people can understand home care, because I think that's kind of a secret or big misunderstood option. And then during the panel presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about reverse mortgages and clear up some of those myths so people know ways they can pay for staying at home or buying a new home.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And then I'm lucky enough to be your keynote speaker, and I'm going to be talking about shifting caregiving from crisis to comfort. Through attitude, we achieve gratitude, which I think so many times we forget about that. And so some of the key points I'll be talking about are kind of the how and why we care in our caring roles and how they change, identifying how illness affects us and why, and analyzing what kind of normal is when the disease process hits, and some practical tools and tips that hopefully will help people shift from crisis to comfort. I think a lot of it is, what I talk about is changing perceptions out there. That's kind of my go-to point, is getting people excited and not embarrassed about this process, but just really empowering them to be all they can be at any stage of life, just how we should. If we've got a disease or not, we should all be trying to live as fulfilled lives as possible. So that's really exciting. And then there'll be time for Q&A.
Mm-hmm. We'll have time for Q&A. Dinner is included. We've got resource tables for people to stop and spend time to have a discussion with some of those resource providers. And then just some other fun things and surprises for people. Mm-hmm. And I want to just highlight that it's for those who maybe are already in the senior population, or the adult children who need to plan. They may be taking care of their parent or grandparent, but they need to know what they're going to do, in what resources are available into the future also. So it's kind of for anybody. It's going to impact all of us at one point or another. So whether we have been a caregiver, we are a caregiver, or we are the person in need of care, it's just an empowering event to find out you're not alone and there's options there for you.
Yeah, and if you don't fall into any of those categories, you will in the future. I mean, the odds are running against you that you're not gonna. So that's just the way it's gonna go. And so, I'm a firm believer education is empowerment, and it removes that fear. And so, maybe you can't use the information today. It's just good information for you for planning for the future. But chances are you're going to hear somebody in your circle, family, friend, coworker, that needs information, and you're going to be able to pipe up and go, gosh, guess what I just learned? Or this is a great resource. And that's really empowering when we can kind of give that gift of knowledge or resource to somebody else. And we forget about how empowering that is for us and for them. It really connects us on a whole different level.
And I just want to touch base. The time is from 4 to 8:30. So there's time to visit the resource tables. And yes, you may have to leave work a little early, but it'll be worth it.
Okay.
Because it impacts your job also, and then this will help you into the future.
And what's the best way for them to register, Beth?
We have a page through Eventbrite set up. It's Savvy Senior Sources, nov2015.eventbrite.com. And if you didn't catch all of that, if you go to savvyseniorsources.com, you will find links to the registration page. And Savvy is SAVVY. Make sure you spell it with 2 V's.
Okay, great. And is there a phone number they can call too if they're not computer people?
They certainly can, 651-770-8462.
Okay. And we had, talked briefly about another event that is connected, kind of a collaborative event with his neighbor, Phil. Beth, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I saw the movie His Neighbor Phil, and it's just so empowering. It's an amazing, heartfelt movie about a woman with Alzheimer's and how it impacts her family, her whole community, and how just the disease, whether it's Alzheimer's or any disease, actually, when somebody gets a diagnosis, it impacts people. And so I just thought it would be an opportunity to show it in the community prior to our event on November 5th, so people have an opportunity to see, and then also come to the November 5th event to find resources to help them through the journey of caring for somebody that has Alzheimer's, or, as I said, any disease. It can be cancer, it could be Parkinson's, anything like that. So I reached out to Deb at Polar Ridge, and she got on board and reached out to the city of North St. Paul to host the event. So it's kind of been a trigger event. And then we are also discussing about showing the event or showing the movie after the November 5th event too. So.
Okay. And Deb, you decided to do one on site as well at Polar Ridge,
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what date is that one?
That one is the 29th of October.
Okay.
And that's from 2:30 to 4:30, I believe. Correct, Beth?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
2:30 to 4:30. That one is more focused on those of us in the senior industry, so
Right.
they have the opportunity to see the movie as they're talking to their clients or other people that may have seen the movie. They can relate.
Okay. And Deb, can you state that date again?
October 29th.
Okay.
It's is that a Thursday night? My mind just went blank. I'm sorry.
Yep, Thursday.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're on a roll with Thursdays.
And you can wear your Halloween costume, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
I will share, it is posted in Care Options, and that went out yesterday. And as of this afternoon, I've already got 10 reservations to come on the 29th.
Very cool.
That's exciting.
Yep.
That's
yes, definitely.
wonderful. Well, that's really cool. And are you still planning on popping some popcorn at North St. Paul, the city of North St. Paul, for that
Yep.
viewing? Good.
Yep, already bought it.
You already bought it. Okay, so we're
Just like you're going to be in a movie theater.
we're set and ready to
Definitely.
go. Yeah, the film is really powerful, and it's just kind of exploding all over the country. So it's very fun. It's something people will laugh and cry with, but again, it's a perfect match actually for the Savor fairs, because it's all about getting people comfortable and not feeling alone, connecting them to support and resources. So yeah, it's a nice collaboration there, and way to build on one another.
One of the scenes in the movie, the daughter is trying to bring home care in, and the husband or father, the husband of the woman, Mary, with Alzheimer's, he's like, no way is anybody coming into my family. Get her out of here. And that's a strong message that you need to be open to those resources. So that's how the movie and this event tie together.
Yeah. Well, and there's a scene, too, where some friends want to come over and clean the house, and he's like, get out of here. My daughter's doing it. And the woman rolls her eyes like, yeah, like she's going to clean the house, right? We all know better. But, it's just that whole process of we're not good about accepting help, and we feel like we're letting somebody down, or we're airing our dirty laundry, or we're lesser than. And you know what? We're all equal, and we all need help. And so We all feel comfortable, for the most part, lifting someone else up, but we don't like being lifted up. And we have to get used to being at the other end, because sooner or later, sometime during our life, probably multiple times during our life, we're going to need that hand up. Mm-hmm. And we have to get better about reaching out to those that want to help, because they can't help when we don't let them, and they can't help when we don't even share that we need help. We fix ourselves up and look pretty and push ourselves out the door, and maybe we're miserable, but nobody knows.
Guess we're still smiling.
Yep.
One of the other things about the movie is it doesn't touch real strongly on finances and how the family can be impacted by finances, but I'm sure anybody who has had a disease knows the impact of any disease can have. And I believe Harvey in the movie, the husband, loses his job.
Yep.
And
he's laid off for 10 to 15 years is what he says.
But that's a loss also, and there's a lot of dynamics with that. And so at the Savor Life Fair, we're going to be talking about how to be prepared for those types of things, and options if you're already in that situation, what some of those options could be.
Yeah, I just talked to a woman last night who was a good friend of mine, and she lives in North Dakota, and her husband just got diagnosed, and I wish your fair was, or South Dakota, I wish your fair was there, because they're just starting this path, and they're just so lost, and they have so many questions with all of the topics we've talked about and all the topics that are being covered at the Savor Your Life Fair. And so I might have to refer you out to South Dakota.
We just may start creating these across the country.
Yeah.
But that's the exciting thing, to be able to do this and how important it is for people.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm just going to throw questions out to everybody as we're wrapping up here. Allison, anything you want to add?
I'd just love to meet a whole bunch of people and come out and see us. We're here to be a resource, and I think somebody else mentioned it earlier. I think many of us that do this, we look at this as a way to give back. We'll sit and listen to your story and offer you some guidance and advice, and we feel great at the end of the day when we're able to help someone in that way at these fairs.
Yeah. Allison, do you want to go ahead and give people your contact information too?
Yeah, we can be reached, or I can be found either via my website. There's a contact page there at www.aboveservices.com, or if you prefer a phone call, 612-965-5122.
Great. And Cricket, any last comments from you?
No, again, I'm really excited to be working with the team, having this opportunity. It's just a really... just a great opportunity to bring back to the community. So very excited.
And how can people get a hold of you and your company, Senior Care Authorities?
Sure. Well, website is www.seniorcareauthority.com, and that's /St. Paul Metro. Or phone is 651-314-4044.
Okay, great. Deb, any last comments from you?
Just excited to be a part of it, and can hardly wait to see the community coming and experiencing that all together as a team, and the whole piece coming together. I can hardly wait.
Good. And what's your contact information if people want to reach out to you at Polar Ridge Senior Housing?
Sure. My email is deb.bland, BLAND, at twsl.com, and our phone is 651-770-4028.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, ladies, all for being with us. Beth, I'll let you go ahead and wrap up. Any last wise words for our audience?
Come join us. You'll be glad you did. Information, again, can be found at savvyseniorsources.com on the educational fair, and I'm working on trying to get the movie information up there also. But if you've got questions, call 651-770-8462. And my reverse mortgage contact information is www.rmsidac.com. Stands for Security, Independence, Dignity, and Control. And that phone number is 651-762-9648.
Okay, great. Thank you all for joining us. For those of you listening, if you did not hear our last show, we were wonderful experience. We had Vicki Kind with us, who's a bioethicist, and she talked about making the right decision for someone else's life. Fabulous conversation. She's got a wonderful workbook and a book that are both very reasonable, and she really kind of pulls in health and family together and really bridges them together very nicely. Next week, we will be talking with Molly Fogel, who's the Director of Education and Social Services at the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. They're rolling out a new program, so I'm anxious to hear about that. Our last Dementia Chats webinar was this morning, where we talked about pets and their impact on those with dementia in families and how powerful they are, if it's a service dog or if it's just a family pet, and the power that they have. Our next Dementia Chats will be October 27th. Remember, all of those are recorded and can be viewed anytime, just like our radio shows are all archived. I want to give a shout-out just to some of my cohorts here at Alive and Social. I absolutely love having our platform here. Apples to Apples is a sports show featuring a father and son team, Scott and Drew Applebaum. And you might want to find out if Father really knows best. They do a lot of fun bantering back and forth, and it might be a show of interest. Another one that's a lot of fun is hosted by Rusty Gatenby, and that runs Monday through Thursday at 9:30. It's called the Twin Cities Hit Show, and he, along with his cohorts, Colleen Justice and former cop turned comedian Chuck Gallup, just have a really entertaining show. There you talk about everything in the Twin Cities and, hot things in the nation and around the world as well. But very, very entertaining and fun show. And the third one I'm going to just do a shout-out to is called The Sports Ticket. And they're your entry into anything sports. So if you like sports, you got to see and listen to Kevin and Kendall. And they do their show every Monday from the studio. And on Thursdays, if you want to meet them in person, go out to Bennett's Chop and Rail House. And I don't care if it's hockey, if it's football, if it's basketball or baseball, they cover it all. So you won't lose out with them, and they'll really help you if you're kind of a fantasy freaks, you've got your own team going. I probably shouldn't say fantasy freaks, but there are so many people. That's just such a hot thing right now with developing those teams, and I know nothing about them at all because I'm too busy here doing dementia and Alzheimer's and caregiving. That's where I'm going to stay. Till next time, have a wonderful week. Talk soon, everybody. Bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors, from fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.